Okay, I think we may be live for today's delivery brief. Welcome to everybody to Holo's delivery brief. As you guys know, this is a short format live stream. We do this every couple of weeks. I think really we do it once a month. And we do it to keep people apprised of how our work is going and how we're delivering on our roadmap. Today, Alastair Ong, our Director of Product, will be joining me, and I'm your Mary Camacho. I'm the Executive Director of Holo. So, quick update. We did a cross-org AMA earlier this week, and it's only Wednesday, so that was just a couple days ago. And this was to give everybody a little bit of a flavor of what's been going on for all of the organizations after the restructure that we did late last year. So that's Holo, Holochain, and now the new organization called Unit. So there were some expected updates there and a lot of context about how things have been going, which is good. And then a few announcements as well. So because of that, today might be a little bit short, really depends on how the questions go. We're going to dive into a few development updates, handing that over to Alistair. So why don't you take that on?
Thanks, Mary. Yeah, so it's been a busy quarter for Holo. We have three items on our public roadmap: the migration to Holo Allograph, the cloud nodes, and the web bridge. And I'm happy to say that we are on track to deliver to our roadmap. So on the migrations, that's the work is done. It is deployed. We only have 10 holoports running on that right now. That sounds small. That's because we are trying to really battle test the migration pathway and make sure that it's as smooth as possible for everyone when we roll it out. What we don't want is a situation where we roll this out widely and it causes issues for a lot of users. Um, so we're happy with the progress we're making there. Cloud nodes, we are expecting that to be complete and deployed at the end of this week. We will be onboarding Hum as our first customer for our new cloud nodes, and the end-to-end testing is taking place this week as we speak, right? Where we are deploying through an orchestrator system, and it's choosing holoports to deploy the workloads to. Then finally, we have the web bridge work, and as I said, that work is on track as well for end of the month. We're also we've also started work on our customer APIs. One of the things that I'm excited about personally with our new holograph network is API first or an API-based access to make it much simpler to automate and integrate the Holo network with applications. That's our roadmap update. On the partnerships front, so recently we announced a partnership with uh, with Human AI X, which is a group of Web3 projects organized by URT. It's a cooperative approach to decentralized AI, and our role there will be to contribute the interface layer. So we will be hosting the applications and some of the workloads that end users will be using to interact with the broader ecosystem. So you could imagine that we would host the applications for training or for inference or whatever, and hand off to one of the GPU networks for actually accessing a GPU, for example. So it's still in early days, and we're excited to see how that evolves and the new workloads that we can bring onto the Holo network from there in the AI space. So I'm complete there, Mary.
Super cool. Well, thank you. So a couple new things that people are hearing about. That's really great. I know there's been a little bit of noise out there about the partnership update that Alistair was just giving, and there'll be more coming out about that in the coming weeks. Just want to do a couple of restatements for some of the things that we talked about on Monday. So let's talk about hot. In the past several months, we've made significant progress in improving HOT's status as a utility. And this really unblocks one of the major requirements that in the past prevented us from being on US exchanges. So now that we are functionally a utility with our hosting network, we are in action to obtain a US listing. So we won't make any promises, but we're going to share the news as we have it. So that will be coming in the future. And then I think we also talked on Monday about Hot is going to be doing a layer 2 integration. And that means that we're going to really look at substantially lowering some of the gas fees for DEX transactions. A while back, several folks in our community, through some of the Telegram channels, began asking us about being able to basically run trading strategies with Hot on DEXs, but it really needed to be in a way, in a format that would work for them. So this is a responsive action that we're taking to provide a layer 2 integration that will support that, but it also just support generally doing transactions in Hot at much lower cost than the Ethereum network. So I think we'll talk about a little, I think there's a few questions about that we'll answer down below. The last thing is just to reiterate, people ask a lot of different questions about what we're doing with Hot and what we're doing with Holo Fuel. Holo's future is still Holo Fuel. It's part of our, there's just, we've been establishing some core functionality on our network that is generalized. It's able to provide value to a wide set of customers, but our larger arc is to reincorporate some of the more holochain-based apps that enable peer-to-peer distributed and decentralized functions on the Holo network. And Holo Fuel is a key component of that in that longer arc. So let's dive into questions. I think we got quite a few. Some of them are left over from before, some of them are new. We'll try to get through all of them real quick. You want to take the first one, Alastair?
Sure. So Hivelo integration is in Q3. Will it include different devices or just Holo ports? So the intention with the Hivelo integration is that we integrate Hivelo onto Holo ports so that Holo ports can, in addition to running hosted holochain and other Holo network workloads, they can use excess capacity to mine other tokens for the owner.
You want to just keep going?
Yeah, sorry. Will you open up the network beyond first-party Holo ports? So yes, the intention definitely is to do that. We envision Holo as an open network, and for that to happen, there needs to be other ways of providing compute capacity. It's just a question of when and prioritization in terms of the engineering support to make that work in a reliable way for everyone. When can we start using our Holo ports? Well, a few people have started already because we do have paying customers, and those customers are paying for hosting, and some Holo ports are earning for that. But beyond that, this is now market driven, so it depends on the demand, and that's why our focus is absolutely on growing demand for the Holo network.
Yeah, that's great. I'll take the next one. It's all USDT pairs are being removed from Binance for EEA users by March 31st. What happens with hot USDT? Will there be other pairs that become available instead? Well, I'm sure a lot of things are going to be changing with Binance as this takes place. I don't know if everybody knows, but basically, Mika requires for any token or any stable coin, rather, uh, that is provided inside of the European Union to have governance or be actually managed here within the EU. So that's why that they're going to be delisting those pairs. There's a lot of expectation about a lot of these things getting to go on to USDC pairs. We don't have an exact answer for anybody at this stage right now, exactly what will go, but there's going to be a lot of changes for every project because everybody pairs with USDT at this stage. And so it'll be really interesting to see how this progresses. we'll keep talking about it and as the month rolls through. The next one is the roadmap describes allograph launch. Does this mean the Holo launch finally takes place this month, or is just the name change? So I've said this last, I think on our last delivery brief. Allograph is a name of our network that is basically just to distinguish it from the legacy network. It's the layer of technologies that put together that actually have us be able to offer products and services on the network. Our network is being used. Our network is being paid for by customers. That is a launch of the network. It is not being used by large numbers of customers at this stage, and we are focused on our growth. Next question. Will Unit use HOT? I don't know. I don't know that I've heard any plan to use HOT, but here's the deal. Unit is providing software that will basically function as an accounting system for units of account. That's kind of why they play with that name. HoloFuel is such a unit of account. It'll probably have a different name, as they've said a couple of times, but basically HOT will still convert into that unit of account that will be used on the Holo network. So whether Unit uses it or not, there's still going to be a relationship between HOT and HoloFuel V2, as they're currently calling it. So that's basically what we have to say about that right now. You want to take the next one?
Sure. Can you share more about the L2 plans for HOT? I think Mary's covered a lot of this. The only thing beyond that I can say is our focus right now is on Ethereum layer 2 as opposed to other chains. The next question is quite long, so I'm going to truncate it a little bit. In the ecosystem session, you talked about supply and demand for Holo hosting. A terabyte of cloud hosting is valued at about $9 a month. Owning one Holoport won't give that much revenue. You're based on that statistic, I'm guessing that's storage. Storage is just one part of cloud hosting. If we actually look at how much servers cost of actually very comparable performance and generation to Holoport on some of the cloud providers, they're in the $20 to $40 range, and that's just for bare metal. So what we're aiming to do with the Holo network is not just provide bare metal hosting, but also provide added value services as well, so that we can command a higher price beyond that. In blockchain market cap divided by supplier's price, what would be the calculation for the price of HoloFuel? I don't really know how to answer that. The price of HoloFuel should be market driven.
There we go.
Yeah.
All right, let's keep going. Having HOT up in parallel to HoloFuel might lead to new uncertainties, whether changing into HoloFuel or not, as long as they are not coupled. How's the plan on addressing this? Well, this is actually how it's been planned and talked about for the last several years. So this isn't a change. So I'm guessing somebody heard us say something on Monday related to this, but it's not a change in the structure or plan. The way that HOT and HoloFuel are expected to interact as HoloFuel comes into existence is that HOT would get basically converted into HoloFuel at a reserve account, and that Coast would be able to go back to some sort of reserve account to redeem HOT that they earned on the network back for, or sorry, HoloFuel that they earned on the network back for HOT. Because HOT currently has liquidity, and I think we talked quite a bit about this on Monday as well, that there is a very good reason to keep HOT around in early days of any new transitionary currency, because it actually does have significantly more liquidity than any brand new currency would have. So that's a part of the answer, and we'll just keep moving through things. Next one. When does the new website I can't say the sentence the way it's written, sorry. When will the new website be launched? Are there any dates yet? I'm not answering anything about dates on that right now, but stay tuned. And then I'll take one other one on the new ones that came in, and then we'll jump around a little bit here. Can you understand that people were disappointed when they found out that the paying customer in HOT was a company you founded rather? That's sort of misleading of a statement. Actually, it's not. I am a co-founder of a company with somebody, and I think this is I'll kind of say something similar to what I said on Monday, or something that Arthur said on Monday, which is that there's a reason why those of us who have been involved in this project are creating some companies and creating some projects on Holochain. We're the ones that know the most about it, and that we ended up being that first customer for the Holo network actually is indicative of our speed to be able to get something created that needed the network to be hosting it. So we had demand from, we're in the alpha stage. That project is in an alpha stage. There are demos being given for that project on a regular basis. It needed to have Holo hosting in order to be ready to be shown and worked with customers. So it was important, and that we got that done in a couple of months is actually, I think, a relevant way to understand why those of us who have been so closely related to this project can and should be ensuring that projects get off the ground. Hand it back to you, Alastair.
The will, will the hot token be available for purchase on Revolut? That would be great. If anyone knows anyone at Revolut that they can refer to us, I would be, yep, please let me know.
Cool, I'll take another one. Is there a way for Holoport owners to know how their node is being utilized? It might be fun to know that trivia if easy. There's a little bit right now when we're reaching out to there's a little bit of a manual process right now. I know we talked about the orchestrator earlier on in the dev update, but right now as we put customers onto Holoports and have the hosting go onto the Holo network, we are reaching out to folks and talking to them about what kinds of projects they are, not in detail. We're not typically saying names and things. One of the reasons that this is the case is that in the original design of our network, and even in the design that we have intended on going forward, is that there's a set of criteria that apps or projects require of the infrastructure. And so they're not saying, oh, I want to put this on a person's Holoport, naming a person or naming something. They're naming maybe a region, so a location might be important, the capacity, the storage, the way that it runs. There are some different attributes to the different Holoports, and this matters in terms of how it may run the app. So that's a little bit more what we're focused on there. Go ahead, Alistair.
Yeah, so 5 to 6 years ago, Holo explained itself as a competitor to centralized hosting. Is there a reason we can't target companies using centralized hosting? So I don't recall what we said 5 to 6 years ago. I think we've also positioned ourselves against Web3 as well and decentralized applications. Uh, but specifically to this question, that is part of the goal of the Allagraph network. It's that we are providing the foundations to be able to host large varieties of applications beyond just purely holochain based ones. Mary?
Yep. Okay, so any info when full transfer to the new corporate identity branding? We're working out the changes. There's a lot of things that have to change over time, so I don't have any dates on that, like I said earlier, but you'll start seeing things over the course of the next month. Kind of already are seeing things, I think. So our social media has been putting some new things out using the brand, including some of our announcements or blog posts, things like that. So go ahead. I think we have one or two more questions. Trying to jump around here.
Okay. What's the status of Holoport hosting exclusively until they're able to recoup their cost? And that so I don't know that we've ever promised that Holoports can recoup their costs. We've provided estimates of how long we would take them to recoup their costs and payback periods, but those were always positioned as estimates based on executing to plan.
Yep. Okay, last one that I think I can see here today is greetings, Mary. I'd like to ask when there will be a downloadable application available that allows us to use our own computers as Holo ports. Um, not sure that using your own computer as a Holo port with a downloaded application is the way that we've ever talked about it, but maybe I'm wrong. Um, so your Holo port is used when it's providing hosting for other projects and applications. Whether or not you are also a user of that application is completely dependent on what the applications are and whether you're in the target market for those applications. In some of the examples, like with I believe that it's a blogging project where lots of people who like to write might be the, target market for as users for that project. So maybe that's something that you'll be interested in taking on and using when it gets onto Holo. And we'll be letting people know as Hum starts to use various or some of our products on the Holo hosting network. So I think that's it for today. Do you guys see anything else come in, guys? All right. Well, that's a wrap. Thanks for all the questions. Good to have everybody here on the live stream, and we'll see you next month.